Welcome to Stories of Hope. This is a podcast by the Dream Center.
Where you will hear from people who have stories that once seemed hopeless.
People whose stories of redemption and life transformation are so powerful, they can only be possible by the power of Jesus. Hey everybody, welcome back to Stories of Hope. Super excited about this week's episode. We are joined by Mary Bess Johnson. She is a longtime volunteer, honorary staff. All the things you want to say. I don't really know what to, but she's been a part of our team for a long time. So we're super excited that you're here.
Oh, thank you. I'm so glad to be here.
Yeah. So we'll just dive right into it.
Sure.
This is one of those you could have done every week with us and it would have felt normal. And so how did it look like getting involved with the Dream Center to begin with for you as a whole?
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, well, it was about 5 years ago, I believe. 2019.
Mm-hmm.
I was doing a presentation and a giveaway at Anderson Christian School. Now, Chris Wilson's sister had her children attending there.
Right.
So I was doing a leadership giveaway for an auction, and her sister said, "Come on, Chris, come over to Anderson and come to the event." She did, and she walked in and saw the leadership auction packet that I was doing, and she went, "Oh, I've been wanting to do some leadership training with the staff."
Yeah.
So we connected then, and that was literally like this time of the year, it was maybe March or 2019, and got involved in June of 2019, coming over and doing leadership training and doing mastermind studies on books.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So then, aside from just leadership trainings, you have done also, you teach a class once a week. What has that kind of looked like? I mean, I feel like you could talk about that.
Oh my goodness. Well, that's kind of an extension of being associated with the Dream Center in that other way, in the leadership training way. I fell in love with this place immediately, just day one. And then I started seeing the people who came here, the clients. I was around here enough, in and out, and talking and educating myself. I did not know about the Dream Center. I live in Pendleton, which is just down the road, but I did not know about the organization.
Right.
So I really looked at everything and just couldn't believe the beautiful story that Chris paints so well.
Right. She does.
She really does.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm, for sure.
And then I thought, hey, I can volunteer.
Yeah.
And so we started. I believe that during COVID, when everything shut down, I said, hey, I'm game. Let's do a self-growth class on Zoom.
Right.
So we had a bunch of clients and even some staff members. We did some things via Zoom during that time. And then when everything opened up, I came out here every week. So I'm here every Tuesday from 9:15 to 10:15, teaching a self-growth class to the clients. And the clients are going to be people who are in the community, from other organizations, and from the Opportunity Village here.
Yeah, right.
As well.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, I know that they love it. I feel like your class is always one of the most consistently attended ones and high numbers, and I know that they just love spending time with you, and we're thankful for your consistency and the care that you put into it. I mean, we sneak in every once in a while to get video and picture, and everybody's always super engaged and excited about it.
We were just talking about a minute ago how I happened to be in the office when one of our newer clients came in, was just raging about how great your class was and how much he loved it. So it truly is so true how much people love you and appreciate what you do.
Well, and it's not me. It's God.
Truly.
He uses me. But often driving over from Pendleton, I'll just say, all right, Lord, if there's something you want me to talk about today, I know you'll tell me.
Yeah.
And so I don't have a real set agenda.
Right.
I'm okay. Not everybody is okay working like that.
Yeah.
I am.
Yeah.
So I can kind of flow with it.
Right.
And I have learned so much from the members.
Oh, yeah.
Well, they teach me and they run the class. I'll just pick up on what they've said and turn it into a coaching session or growth, whatever, whatever is appropriate.
Right. That's awesome. I love it. So, well, thank you for doing that. I mean, I feel like we should give you a thank you card every week when you come in, just for your consistency.
I feel, yes, I feel appreciated.
Yeah,
yes,
good.
I do.
Good.
Very glad to hear that.
Okay, so let's make kind of a hard pivot into, we do this podcast with the whole intention of we just want to give opportunities for people to share what they've seen the Lord do in their life, on a platform where people can listen to it when they need it, or they get excited about listening to it every week. And so I'd love to give you a chance to kind of just talk through some of your personal testimony, really whatever areas of your life that you'd like to, and just kind of share a story of hope of what you've seen God do in your life.
You got all day?
Yeah, right.
Not really. I'm old as dirt, so I have so many experiences. I think the thing that always stands out to me as time goes on is how I can see God's hand at work in my life through the years, and how important that is for all of us to remember those experiences. John Maxwell calls experiences that they're not just experiences are the best teacher. He says evaluated experience is.
Yeah, right.
So you can take an experience, even if it was bad, and evaluate it, and beauty is going to come from it, always. So for me, I can just really see God's hand in my life through dark times, through ups and downs, confusing times, indecisive moments. But I trusted God at that time, mostly.
Right.
I went ahead a few times.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a few. So really, it's kind of a lifetime of spiritual growth. I have had tremendous spiritual growth through my life. I am not the same person I was when I was 30
Right.
or 40 or 50. And as a matter of fact, this morning in the class, we were talking about our core values. And so that's something that's very important to me. And when we discover what those core values are, those non-negotiables, it makes everything so easy in life.
Right.
There's so much freedom in that. Jesus is at the head of it all for me, and everything just filters down from there. So when you find what those core values are and those non-negotiable things, you can go out and be. I don't like to use the word do, but you can be the person that God wants you to be. And I have just experienced so many things. I do wish that I had journaled my whole life. Oh my word, I would have it there in front of me. But I recently have had, this past year, a situation with our grandson, one of our grandsons, who's been trying to find a job for about a year and trying to live away from home, with some other boys. Right. And paying rent and all of that. And it's just been such a struggle. And he has struggled so much personally, with anxiety and just frustration and everything like that. And for me, it was another opportunity to let it go and let God take care of it.
Right.
And that even, so see, here I am, my birthday is in March, I'll be 78. I mean, just recently, just 6 months ago, right, I had a really heavy-duty spiritual growth thing in dealing with my concern for my grandson. And I came into this awareness through music. My grandson's daughter would often say, "Oh, we just need a miracle." So he'll, just miracle. And And that was something about that was like, no, it's not a miracle. I mean, really, he needs a job, but, I just couldn't quite, you know what I mean?
Yeah, right,
I couldn't
yeah.
quite grasp,
Yeah.
it's not that simple. Well, so one day I heard the song where she starts out, whoever the singer is, I couldn't tell you. She starts talking about the Lord being in the room, and it's a praise song, and it builds, and she talks about the Lord being in the room. He's there with us, and that goes on and on. And at the very end of the song, she says, a miracle can happen now. And I fell to my knees.
Right.
That's exactly what I needed to hear.
Right.
When the Lord is there, and he is, I know that he is.
Yeah.
Allow him to be there and to fill that space.
Right.
And to be in the room. And though I can't speak super personally about my grandson's salvation, I can tell you enough to know that in his 23-year-old heart and in his upbringing, the Lord is there.
Right.
And so that's where I went with that. I said, you know what, God, you are in that boy's heart. You are in our family. You're in his parents, his sister, everybody. Your spirit is filling this room. Get into that. Allow your spirit to take over.
Right.
And then that miracle will happen.
Yeah.
And that made that word miracle be okay with me. Because sometimes we use that word loosely.
Right.
So that's been a really recent experience
That's
for me
awesome.
that's just been incredible.
Beautiful.
And then some years ago, my husband got really, really sick, had been drinking way too much for too many, many, many years. And I absolutely believe that God saved his life by allowing him to be very ill and almost dying.
Wow. Yeah.
I prayed for years and years and years that he would cut back on the alcohol or he would quit. Never in my wildest imagination thinking that it was going to be something that severe.
Right.
And it was like God supernaturally took away the desire.
Right.
So that's been another biggie thing. Just in recent years.
Right.
But lots of little God winks along the way.
Yeah.
I've experienced a lot of things here at the Dream Center with some of the clients. One in particular, a beautiful woman who's been coming here since before I started, actually, and volunteers here some too, but she's always in the class. And when I first met her, there was a feeling of guard about her. And one day in our class, we started talking about forgiveness. And she was able to share that she had really a deep problem with lack of forgiving someone. Mm-hmm. And we really talked into it. She shared her heart that day. And I am telling you, if she's probably down the hall right now. Because we talk about it frequently.
Right.
I know the day that I saw God wash forgiveness over her face.
Yeah.
She's not been the same since.
Right.
Wow.
I can't tell you her heart, but as far as her demeanor.
Right.
And because she was very guarded, beautiful. And it's just, I will never, ever forget that. Yeah. That was like really right after we first opened back up after COVID.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was a cool thing. So there are things here that happen all the time with the residents and where I can see God working in their lives. And in y'all. I mean, too.
Yeah,
you know, I've gotten to know the staff through my business. And let me say this. The name of my business is Leadership Solutions Now. And so you know what NOW stands for? Not over with.
Mm. Right.
Because it isn't over with until we take our last breath.
Yeah.
So that's my heart, is to add value to other people so that it will multiply, and to encourage everyone to know that it is over when you take your last breath, except for the legacy that you've left. So while you're here on earth, let's spread the love and spread Jesus.
Right.
And because you never know when it is your last breath.
Right.
Yeah.
So that now has really been my word. You know, it started out as a word for the year several years ago, and then I just actually named my business that.
That's awesome.
And it helps me stay in the now.
Right.
And to spread that. We all can have an impact.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Absolutely.
For the kingdom. And it doesn't always look like we're teaching like in my business, in leadership business, if I'm out in the corporate world or somewhere like that, or where it's, I'm not going to talk about Jesus all the time. They know it.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
They know.
Yeah.
By who I am and how I show up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's the impact that people can have. We do not have to all be evangelists and be able to, tell the story, ask whatever for the gospel. I mean, we all can make a difference. All of us.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how old we are, who we are, how young we are.
Yeah.
It's just incredible.
It's awesome. I love that. So what did it look like for you first, like meeting Jesus? Like, yeah, I would love to hear that. I would love.
Oh my goodness, that's such a cool story. So if you've ever, I grew up in Anderson, and we attended First Baptist Church in downtown Anderson, huge big church.
Right.
All right, so that's Baptist, and there's a going forward when the Lord calls you.
Right.
Well, on Easter Sunday, and I was 12 years old, so I could go back and tell you that day. That would have been 59.
Okay.
Easter Sunday in 1959. And I sang in the children's choir, or the youth choir, and we had a huge group. And we were singing that Easter Sunday. I will never, ever, ever forget standing up out of the mind you, 12-year-old getting up out of the choir in front of that many people in the huge big church and walking out and going down to the front. It never entered my mind what do my friends in the choir think, what I just moved.
Yeah.
Literally just got up and moved and went down there, and I remember crying a lot, being very emotional about it.
Right.
So that was just Jesus just washing over me at that moment. Now, the time from there, and that doesn't mean I was a changed person.
Oh, right, yeah.
Hey, I was 12 years old. I wasn't a teenager yet.
Right, 100%.
I still was going to high school and do some things. But but knowing, and see, that's kind of what I was talking about with my grandson.
Right.
As a child, when you have that moment, and when you can remember Bible verses, the Bible verses now that come to me. Right. That I learned from Sunday school class, when I was 10.
Oh yeah.
All of that is so important. But yeah, that's kind of how it was. And
that's
then
awesome.
As the time went on, and I, grew up, married, and this and that, and veered away from the Lord a lot, but still had that foundation.
Right.
Then a really big reborn experience happened, and I probably at that point I may have been 40.
Right.
I can't remember exactly, but I remember how it happened and when, and the women in the church we were attending praying with me and over me, and from that day I was a new person.
Right.
Again, a newer person, and the person to have that personal relationship with Jesus.
Right.
Not just go to church.
Yeah, right.
And say, "Oh, I'm religious." No. It is an absolute personal relationship. And I tell my husband, I say, "Chris, I love Jesus more than I love you."
Right.
So, and he knows that.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the way it is.
Man.
Yeah. So those are that second that experience as an adult was really a beautiful thing. And that's when I really started making choices that were in alignment.
Right.
Giving up this and that and switching, getting around to other people.
Right.
And it was amazing to see that happen.
I feel like that's what happens most times, especially for those that grew up in church, is very similar for me. Of like, I met Jesus when I was 7 or 8, and then at 13 I had another realization of like, okay, I know that I have made this decision to follow him, but I think I'm starting to see it's more real. And then at 18 again, I was like, okay, I know that I'm doing things totally backwards here. And then again, in reality for me, like 27, a couple years ago, just going through some hard things of like, okay, like I have a decision now to make this thing actually personal and everyday, or I have a decision to let everything that this world is putting in front of me take charge, and I can walk with that every day in a personal relationship. And so you just have these like moments throughout time of, we were talking about it in our leadership meeting a few minutes ago, but like when the Israelites crossed the Jordan and built the altar, and so that it would be there for all of time, it's like you have these moments of, okay, I can make this a pivotal moment of remembrance for my life moving forward, or I can let it be something that is going to mark me in, this is when I chose anything but Jesus. And so I love hearing that, because I think it's very helpful for people to see people in different walks of life, different ages, different backgrounds, different of like this journey with Jesus is individualized, but there's a lot of similarity, and that's how we get to relate to each other is we are fickle humans. We are going to stray away.
I noticed the expression on your face earlier when I said that about having core values and non-negotiable items, and how much freedom that gave.
Oh yeah,
us.
You have to.
And your eyes were big, and you were nodding and going,
It's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
And that is so true. It's not prison like some people think.
Yeah, no.
Oh my word! To follow Jesus,
it's quite literally the opposite.
Quite literally the opposite.
Mentor one time told me that having these guidelines, these rules, these kind of like, not expectations Lord has for us, but suggestions of how to live by. It's like a playground. Lord's like, you can go on the slide, you can go on the swing, you can go on the climbing wall. Just don't leave the fence. It is for your safety. I'm not trying to be rude. I'm not trying to be harsh. The parking lot is not safe, but the slide is yours.
Yeah, right.
And that's what I think it's like following Jesus. It's like a beautiful little playground. Outside the fence may look fun, but it's not great for us.
Yeah.
Well, right.
And I think that's what it looks like.
Yes.
100%. We see it from the beginning. I mean, I'm sure the fruit of the knowledge of good and evil looked good. They shouldn't have ate it.
Yes, that's right.
He's done it for us from the beginning. He's given us hey, I have all these good things. Just maybe not this one thing. And we're like, but that's what I want.
Yeah, but that's what I want. I know.
So, no, but that's great. I think and obviously with how we do things at the Dream Center, you mentioning core values as a whole is great, just because that's so much of what we we read them at every meeting. I have most of them memorized, and I live by them in my personal life, even in so many ways. And so you saying core values, I was like, great, that's perfect.
Because we talked about this morning a personal mission statement, and breaking that down, and really what did that mean? And part of that is finding out what your core values are. Yeah. And I actually went back and got the Dream Center's sheet with the core values on it, and y'all would have loved one of the Opportunity Village gals was reciting it, so she knows it by heart.
Beautiful.
Wow. That's amazing.
That's really cool.
She was reciting it as I was reading it. So we mixed that in right there.
And I think it's helpful too, of like, in no way do you have to figure out this walk with God like on your own, like groundbreaking ideas. Like the whole point of like being a part of the body and a part of the church is like the foot can't be a hand, and the hand can't be like every part has their own thing. So like use what the rest of the body has to offer you, and like take inspiration from your core values in your life are different than mine, but I can hear the things that you say about your life, and that can shift some kind of perspective for me to where then I can be like, hey, this is really good. It may not fit my life perfectly, but I can make a little adjustment here based on what you encouraged me with your life, and so on and so forth. And so I think that's what's great about our classes, what's great about how our staff are all involved in different churches and different backgrounds,
Yes.
like how the clients are so different. It's just like we get to see this beautiful picture of how the body as a whole works, and how we all get to feed off each other and work together as the bride of Christ and as the body. And so I love that. I think that's awesome.
And this morning, interesting question. One person asked, well, how would you apply this to if you were starting a business or something? So she was going towards the business world, and I said, oh, no differently.
No, not at all.
You are the same person.
Yeah.
No matter where.
Right.
How you are here is how you are going to be everywhere else.
Yep.
And I think actually that's when I got my hands on the Dream Center's core values, because I wanted them to, I wanted to demonstrate how you could, could be a person's personal mission
100%.
And I teach new team members who join Maxwell Leadership, and that's one of the things I talk about is the integrity and how you show up. You are the same person.
Yeah.
No matter where.
Right.
So be sure that you understand the kind of person you want to be.
Yeah, right.
And how you're going to be viewed by other people.
Yeah.
And are you walking the talk of those values that you say you have? Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. So as we get kind of close to our ending our time here, one of the things that we love to do towards the end is, and I feel like everything you've said to this point could be the answer to this question, just truthfully. But I love to give our guests an opportunity to just something that's on their heart or on their mind, just to give a little bit of hope here at the end for somebody listening, or encourage, or any kind of little tip or anything like that, just to leave them as we wrap up.
Yeah. Yes. Pretty much what I've said is an encouragement. And I love this phrase that I learned from a mentor years ago. He would be teaching about some experience that he had. And he would say, I'm not telling you this to impress you.
Right.
But to impress upon you. That if you will go and add value, to multiply with others, and you will serve people.
Right.
And you will follow Jesus, then that's what I want to impress upon you, that it is important and it will work. So these things work. Sometimes I think people have beautiful testimonies that they don't share.
Oh, yeah.
Because they think they're bragging.
Right.
Yeah.
That's when you take that. In fact, that can be my end here, my close, by saying, it's not about you, first of all.
Yeah, right.
But what you can say or what you can share is so very important.
Right.
You never ever know when somebody else is waiting to hear, and they're going, oh, thank goodness somebody else has experienced that.
Right.
So when you start talking about things, examine your motives. Make sure it's not about bragging about yourself.
Right.
But that you are sharing information not to impress, but to impress upon those who are listening, that they too can have influence and live a life of significance.
Right. Amazing. That's great. I think that's where we see the multiple things in the New Testament, as far as when Paul talks about boasting in our weakness. And like, it's not about like, I'm only sharing what I'm sharing to point you straight to the Lord of, like, without the moving power in my life.
That's exactly right.
Of Jesus, like I literally would be like stuck in the muck and mire forever. Yeah. It's not about, I didn't do any of this. I like submitted to what he wanted to do and said yes, but ultimately like the changing that happened is not because of me. And then also, and if you've listened to the podcast, you've heard me say this 1,000 times. But in Revelation 12, when it talks about the way that we defeat the enemy is with the blood of the Lamb and with the word of our testimony. Like Satan loses all power because of what Jesus did on the cross, and then because of us boasting in our weakness about what he's done in our life. He just keeps losing, and he will just lose forever. And so I think that is very
perfect
helpful.
Scripture for that.
Very helpful.
Absolutely perfect. Yeah. I'm telling you this not to impress you, but to impress upon you.
That's really awesome.
That. So whatever it is, you can go and and that will encourage a person to testify.
Yes.
And not keep it to themselves.
Yes. Amazing.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Thank you for bringing up the scripture part of it. Yeah, because that's perfect. Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's a new awareness for me this very moment. Yeah, just hearing it that way.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for doing this. Like, thank you for being part of the Dream Center. Thank you for everything you've done for us and for our clients. And we love you here, and we're thankful.
Really do love you.
And
I love y'all. I know.
Getting to do ministry with you, like I said at the beginning, is just awesome. So we're just super grateful for who you are. And
I am very blessed to be able to serve here, and my life has changed and has been made better through my association with the Dream Center.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, praise the Lord for that. We love that.
Absolutely.
So, well, thank you guys for listening to the episode this week, and we'll see you next week on Stories of Hope.